But beneath those waves lurks an AI fleet, one that doesn't breathe, doesn't eat, and never stops.
October 28th, 2025, 6:12 a.m. The Eastern Pacific, coordinates 4 degrees north, 85 degrees west. The ocean here does not look like water. From 41,000 feet, through the plexiglass window of a U.S. Navy P-8A Poseidon, it looks like hammered lead. Endless, indifferent. A 6 million square mile void that swallows light and radio waves with equal appetite. Inside the aircraft, the air is conditioned to a sterile 65 degrees, smelling faintly of ozone, recirculated coffee, and the warm plastic of overheating server racks. Outside, the air is a suffocating blanket of humidity, thick enough to choke an engine. For the last 4 hours, the mission crew has been staring at screens, green phosphor, digital waterfalls. They are hunting a ghost. The operator at Workstation 3 rubs eyes that feel like they are filled with sand. He is looking for a variation in the static. A glitch in the matrix. The ANAPY-10 radar is screaming pulses of electromagnetic energies down at the ocean surface, searching for something hard, something metal, something that doesn't belong. But the ocean is noisy. The waves are 3 feet high, chaotic, churning. To the radar, every wave crest looks like a target for a split second before collapsing. This is the clutter zone, the noise floor. And somewhere down there, hiding in the noise, is a needle. But this needle isn't made of steel. It is made of fiberglass and epoxy, and it is moving at 6 knots, carrying enough cocaine to finance a small war. The silence in the tactical compartment is heavy. It is the sound of $200 million of aerospace engineering failing to find a boat built in a swamp with hand tools. Let's back up. We need to understand the scale of this game. To understand why a superpower is struggling to secure its own backyard, you have to look at the map. The transit zone. It encompasses the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and the vast, lonely expanse of the Eastern Pacific. We are talking about 7 million square miles. That is roughly twice the size of the continental United States. Imagine trying to find a single gray Toyota Camry driving somewhere between New York and Los Angeles, but the roads are moving. The car is invisible to radar, and you are looking through a straw. This is not a law enforcement issue. It is a geometry problem. The adversary here is not a nation state. It is a transnational criminal organization, a TCO. But do not let the bureaucratic acronym fool you. These are logistics empires that rival Amazon in efficiency and surpass Apple in profit margins. Their commodity is white powder. A single shipment, 6 tons of cocaine packed into watertight hull, has a street value of $180 million. Think about that number. $180 million. For that kind of money, you can afford to lose. The cartels operate on a logic that is alien to the military mind. They accept attrition. They expect it. They are willing to build 4 of these vessels and have 3 of them captured just to get one through, because that one successful delivery pays for the next 10. It is a brute force economic equation. The United States Coast Guard and Navy are playing a different game. They are playing defense. And in defense, you have to be right 100% of the time. The smuggler only has to be right once. The weapon the cartels have built to exploit this equation is called the SPSS, the Self-Propelled Semi-Submersible. The media calls them narco subs, but they are not submarines. A true submarine is a pressure vessel, a steel tube designed to go deep. These are something else. These are low-profile vessels, designed to float just barely. They are born in the mangroves. Go to the Pacific coast of Colombia. The Nariño Department, deep in the jungle, under the canopy where satellite cameras cannot see, makeshift shipyards hum with the sound of generators and sanding discs. There are no overhead cranes here. No clean rooms, just mud, mosquitoes, and master craftsmen working with hazardous materials. The construction is a marvel of what we call jungle engineering. The hull is not steel. Steel is heavy. Steel reflects radar. Steel is expensive. Instead, they use wood and fiberglass. They build a frame, usually out of local timber, and then they wrap it in layers of glass-reinforced plastic. Fiberglass is the key. In the world of electronic warfare, materials matter. Radar works by bouncing radio waves off a target and listening for the echo. Metal conducts electricity. It acts like a mirror for radar waves. It sends a strong signal back. Fiberglass is a dielectric. It is an insulator. Its relative permittivity is low, between 4 and 6. When a radar wave hits this fiberglass hull, it doesn't bounce off. It goes through. It penetrates the skin of the vessel. Inside the boat, the space is packed tight. The engine is a commercial marine. Diesel, usually a Cummins, maybe 350 horsepower. It's a reliable iron block, the same kind you find in a fishing trawler or a tractor. That engine block is metal. It should reflect radar. But the cartels are smart. They pack the cocaine bricks around the engine. Dense, organic matter. The cargo itself acts as an absorber, soaking up the radio energy that managed to get through the fiberglass skin. The result is a ghost, a vessel that is physically 70 feet long but appears on a radar screen as a speck of noise, no bigger than a seabird or a floating log. Then there is the heat. A 300 horsepower diesel engine generates a massive amount of thermal energy. In the infrared spectrum, a normal boat looks like a flare. The exhaust pipe glows white hot. The engine room radiates heat through the deck. To defeat the thermal cameras, the forward-looking infrared sensors, the builders use the ocean itself. They pipe seawater into the exhaust system, cooling the gases before they leave the boat. They vent the exhaust underwater, burying the heat signature beneath the waves. They line the engine compartment with lead sheeting or thick insulation to keep the deck cool. It is a floating coffin. The crew, usually 3 or 4 men, live in a space no larger than a walk-in closet. There is no toilet. They use a bucket. The air is thick with diesel fumes and the chemical reek of cocaine. They travel for weeks, navigating by GPS, eating canned food, praying the engine doesn't quit. Because if it does, there is no AAA. There is only the ocean or the Americans. But in July of 2025, the game changed. The Americans found a vessel with no crew, no food, no bucket, just racks of servers and a Starlink terminal bolted to the deck. The autonomous era had arrived. Now, look at the other side of the chessboard. The shield. The United States Navy responds with the Boeing P-8A Poseidon. This is a militarized 737, a commercial airliner modified to carry torpedoes, cruise missiles, and the most advanced sensor suite on the planet. Each one costs upwards of $150 million. The heart of the Poseidon is the ANAPY-10 radar. It is a multi-mission maritime surveillance radar operating in the X-band. X-band means high frequency, short wavelength. It provides high resolution, theoretically capable of spotting a periscope from 30 miles away. The radar spins in the nose of the aircraft, sweeping the ocean hundreds of times a minute. It uses a technique called scan-to-scan integration. It takes multiple snapshots of the water and overlays them. The idea is that waves are transient. They rise and fall, appearing and disappearing. A solid object, like a boat, should persist. It should be there in frame 1, frame 2, and frame 3. The software looks for that persistence. But the P-8 is just the eyes. The fist is the Coast Guard. The Legend-class National Security Cutter 4005, 100 tons of white steel, $300 million per hull. It is a warship in everything but name. It carries a 57mm Bofors cannon on the bow and a phalanx close-in weapon system on the stern. It has a helicopter deck, launching H-65 Dolphin helicopters carrying snipers with 50 caliber rifles. This is the mismatch. On one side, you have a billion-dollar network of satellites, aircraft, and cutters. On the other, a disposable plastic boat built by guys in flip-flops. And the plastic boat is winning. The problem is physics. Specifically, the physics of the radar horizon and sea clutter. Let's dig deep into this. This is where the narrative usually skips the details, but the details are why we are losing. Radar travels in straight lines. The Earth is curved. If you are a ship, your radar is mounted on a mast, maybe 100 feet above the water. Standing at that height, the horizon is only about 13 miles away. Anything beyond that curve is in the shadow. It is invisible. The narco sub rides extremely low in the water. We call this low freeboard. Only about 18 inches of the boat sticks up above the surface. It hugs the water. This does two things. First, it keeps the vessel below the radar horizon for as long as possible. A Coast Guard cutter won't see it until it is practically within visual range, maybe 8 miles out. In the vastness of the Pacific, 8 miles is a knife fight. It is point-blank range. Second, it exploits the sea clutter. The ocean surface is not a mirror, it is rough. When radar energy hits a wave, it scatters. Some of it bounces back to the receiver. We call this backscatter. In Sea State 3, which is standard for the Pacific, you have waves that are 3 to 4 feet high. Think about that geometry. The wave is taller than the boat. When the radar pulse sweeps across the water, it hits the wave crests and gets a strong return. It hits the trough and gets a shadow. The narco sub sits in the trough. It is physically masked by the water itself. Even when it is on a crest, its fiberglass hull absorbs the energy while the water around it reflects it. To the radar software, the boat looks like a hole in the water, or it looks like just another wave. The P-8 tries to solve this by flying high. At 40,000 feet, the radar horizon pushes out to 200 miles. But distance brings a new problem: power density. The radar beam spreads out as it travels. By the time it hits a small fiberglass target 50 miles away, the energy is weak, and because the target absorbs that weak energy, the return signal is almost non-existent. The signal-to-clutter ratio drops below zero. The target is buried in the noise. This forces the P-8 crew to use what they call periscope detection mode. It focuses the radar energy into a tight beam, scanning a small area with intense power, using very short pulses to discriminate between the target and the waves. But scanning a small area takes time, and the ocean is massive. It is like trying to find a contact lens on a football field using a magnifying glass. You can see it if you look in exactly the right spot, but you cannot look everywhere at once. And while the P-8 is searching Sector A, the narco sub is slipping through Sector B. This is the definition of asymmetric warfare. It is not about who has the bigger gun. It is about the cost of doing business. The United States is spending tens of thousands of dollars per flight hour to keep a P-8 in the air. The cutter burns gallons of diesel every second. The satellite time is priceless. The cartel spends $2 million to build a boat that they plan to throw away. If the crew arrives in Mexico, they scuttle the boat. They open valves in the keel and send it to the bottom of the ocean. It is a single-use logistics container. The math is brutal. If the Coast Guard catches 20% of the shipments, it is considered a good year. That means 80% get through, but today, the math is about to get worse because the boat down there, the one the radar operator at Workstation 3 is struggling to find, doesn't have a crew. It doesn't have a fear of death, and it is not alone. Back at the console, the rhythm changes. It starts with a sound in the headset of the electronic warfare operator. Not a voice, a chirp, a digital heartbeat. The ANAL Q240 sensor suite has picked up a signal. It's not a radio transmission. It's a data uplink, Q-band, high frequency, directed upward at a steep angle toward low Earth orbit. This is the Starlink signature. The operator frowns. This far out in the Pacific, 400 miles from the shipping lanes, there should be no Wi-Fi. Fishing boats don't stream 4K video. Contact, the operator says. Bearing 180, RF emission active. The tactical coordinator slews the optical camera, the MX-20 turret hanging under the nose of the plane. The high-definition lens zooms in, stabilizing against the vibration of the aircraft. On the screen, the ocean is a blur of gray waves. Then a shape. It looks like a scar on the water. A dark, slender wedge, barely cutting the surface. No wake, no superstructure, just a fiberglass back breaking the waves. Confirm visual, the coordinator says. Low-profile vessel, vectoring the cutter. But then, the electronic warfare operator speaks again. His voice is tight. I have a second signal, same frequency, bearing 185. Third signal, bearing 175. Multiple emitters. I am seeing 6 contacts. The tactical display lights up. A cluster of red diamonds appears on the map. They aren't moving in a convoy. They are spread out in a skirmish line, 2 miles apart. It is a swarm. This is the nightmare scenario the strategists warned about. The P-8A can track hundreds of targets, but it can only visually inspect one at a time. The Coast Guard cutter can only intercept one at a time. The math has just collapsed. The cartel isn't trying to sneak past the goalkeeper anymore. They are flooding the zone. 20 miles to the south, the USCGC Stone, a Legend-class national security cutter, goes to general quarters. The alarm klaxon creates a physical sense of urgency, vibrating the deck plates. The captain knows he cannot chase 6 targets. He picks the closest one. The ship's twin diesel engines and gas turbine kick in. The Kodaj propulsion system delivering 30,000 horsepower. The bow rises. The cutter surges to 28 knots. But 28 knots isn't enough. The target is 10 miles away. By the time the ship gets there, the others will be gone. Launch the Hytron, the captain orders. On the flight deck, the H-65 Dolphin helicopter spins up. This is the long arm of the law. In the side door, strapped into a harness, sits a precision marksman. In his hands is a Barrett M10750 caliber rifle. This is not a warning shot situation. You cannot radio a boat that has no radio. You cannot order a crew to stop when there might not be a crew. You have to break the machine. The helicopter screams low over the water, moving into a tactical orbit. The pilot doesn't get too close. If that vessel is rigged with explosives, he needs standoff distance. He holds a steady hover at 300 yards. Through the sniper's scope, the vessel looks alien. Smooth, sealed, no cockpit windows. Just a camera mount and that flat, white Starlink dish. Target is non-compliant, the pilot reports. Clear hot. The sniper exhales. He isn't aiming for a person. He is aiming for a specific point on the hull, the rear third of the vessel, where the thermal imaging shows the heat of the engine block. Microzoom. The trigger breaks. The firing pin strikes the primer. Inside the chamber, gunpowder deflagrates. Pressure spikes to 55,000 psi. The bullet, a 660-grain armor-piercing incendiary round, leaves the barrel at 2,800 feet per second. It crosses the gap in 0.3 seconds. Impact. The fiberglass hull offers no resistance. The bullet does not smash it. It punches through. The composite layers delaminate instantly, the resin matrix shattering into dust. The bullet is barely slowed down. It screams into the engine compartment. It hits the cast iron engine block of the diesel motor with 15,000 joules of kinetic energy. Cast iron is brittle. It doesn't bend. It cracks. The impact shatters the cylinder head. It severs the high-pressure fuel injection lines. Diesel sprays onto the hot manifold. The engine seizes a catastrophic mechanical heart attack. On the surface, the vessel shudders. White smoke belches from the underwater vent. The wake dies. The boat drifts, dead in the water. A mobility kill. Good effect on target, the pilot says. Target slows to 0. But the engagement isn't over. As the helicopter hovers over the crippled drone, the P-8A circling above sees the rest of the picture. The 5 other contacts didn't stop. They didn't turn. They didn't scatter. They held their course. The swarm logic is pre-programmed. The loss of 1 unit is calculated. The command and control algorithm, running on a server in Bogota or Sinaloa, treats them like packets of data. If 1 packet is dropped, the others continue. The tactical coordinator on the P-8 watches the other red diamonds slip toward the edge of the radar screen. Cutter Stone, we have 5 leakers. Repeat, 5 leakers proceeding north-northwest. The cutter captain stares at the tactical plot. He does the mental math, but this time, it isn't about speed, it is about intel. He realizes that these drones are networked. If he chases the leakers, if he starts shooting wildly at the swarm, the network might detect the aggression. A kill switch code could be broadcast to the disabled boat, wiping the hard drives or triggering a self-destruct charge. He isn't trading 1 boat for 5. He is trading 5 shipments of cocaine for the source code. He needs the navigation logs. He needs the origin point of that autonomous guidance system. He needs to find the shipyard. Secure the target, the captain says, his voice cold. Let the others go. I want that server dry and intact. It is a tactical sacrifice for a strategic win. The boarding team from the cutter arrives at the drifting hulk. They are fast, but the machine is faster. As soon as the engine RPM hit 0, a failsafe triggered. Deep in the keel of the vessel, a 3-inch bronze scuttle valve rotates open. It is a simple ball valve, electrically actuated. The Pacific Ocean rushes in, hundreds of gallons per minute. The reserve buoyancy of these vessels is almost 0. They are designed to sink. The Coast Guard team jumps onto the slippery fiberglass deck. They are carrying power tools and wooden wedges. They are trying to save the evidence. 1 man cuts through the hatch with a quickie saw. The noise is deafening. Sparks fly. They pry the hatch open. Inside, the water is already waist deep. It is dark, smelling of diesel and ozone. There is no crew to arrest, no frightened men with hands up, just rows of cocaine bricks wrapped in plastic, and a waterproof server case blinking with blue LED lights. They manage to plug the valve. They pump it out. They tow it back to San Diego. Later, the analysis comes in. The haul is 6 tons. Street value, $180 million. A massive bust. The Coast Guard issues a press release. Medals are awarded. But in the intelligence briefing room, the mood is grim. The forensic analysis of the drone's guidance system reveals the truth. The logs show the other 5 vessels reached their destination. 180 million seized, 900 million delivered. The cost of the operation, the P-8 flight time, the cutter's fuel, the crew fatigue, the maintenance, millions of dollars. The cost to the cartel, 1 fiberglass hull and a Cummins engine, maybe 2, $100,000, and they didn't risk a single human life. This is the new reality of the drug war. It has moved from a cat-and-mouse game to a war of man versus algorithm. We used to look for the human error, the nervous pilot, the crew that needed to surface for air, the phone call home. Now, we are fighting lines of code. We are fighting simple, brutal economics. The narco sub has evolved from a clumsy wooden boat into a stealthy, autonomous delivery vehicle that leverages the same satellite technology used by the US military. And the ocean is still 6 million square miles. So, here's the question for the next decade of naval strategy. How do you win a war When the enemy can print weapons cheaper than you can print parking tickets? How do you patrol the sea when the needle in the haystack has learned how to drive itself? The radar sweeps again. The screen shows nothing but static. But we know they are out there, running silent, running deep, and now running alone. Fair winds. See you in the next one.